Organisations customise forms to suit their needs. Forms are built in HTML, and Hilltop software provides demonstration forms, documentation describing how to build a form, and of course this tutorial. This is the code for the form you were just looking at. Before you go knocking down the door of your IT guru, bear with me. You've got the smarts to be doing your job, so you've got the smarts to customise your own form. If I can do it, you can do it too. We could start with the minimum code required to build a form, but we can work smarter by taking a demonstration form and editing it to suit our needs. Before we get into the HTML, let's take a step back and look at how we would even begin with a demonstration form. First, we need to store our form where Hilltop can find it. In Manager, if we go to Help, About Manager, we can see here where Manager runs from. Right, so now we'll go and find this directory, and we'll make a subdirectory called Forms. Now that we've done that, we can go and get our demonstration forms. They come in a zip file, so first we need to extract the files, and then we can take them from there and pop them into our Forms directory. If you're making a form for a mobile device, there are a set of files that you'll need to copy to a web server. Here we're just going to look at a form for use within Manager. And now for the fun bit, designing a form. First up, we'll save a copy of the demonstration form, rename it, and we'll use this file to work on so that we've still got the original to refer to if we get in a pickle. Let's open it up in a web browser to have a look at it. And if we open the same file in Notepad, this gives us the code for the form. This code at the top has links to various style sheets, and the style sheets give the instructions for the format of the form, like which font to use and that sort of thing. You don't need to do anything with this, unless of course you want to. OnLoad and OnSave refers to the function that enables you to adjust the form before it is displayed, and before Manager saves the results. Again, just leave it be. This form element simply means we're making a form. And then there's some stuff about the picture at the top here, and the fact that the date and time goes here and not here, and that sort of thing. The sections are laid out in tables, and on this row, TR stands for row, site name will appear in this container, which is encoded by TD. The ID is the important bit, and here, site tells Manager to display the site name that is entered when the form is added. There's one last thing I want to point out before we move on, and that's this bit of code right near the bottom here where the save and cancel buttons are. Things get a bit more complicated here, and these are set up so they're not there when you're viewing a form, but they are there when you're editing a form. So just don't mess with these, as they won't work anymore. Let's have a look now at the data entry elements. The data entry part of the form can have edit fields like this one, combo boxes like this, or radio buttons, which are good for when you have a small number of predetermined choices. For the external staff gauge, for example, this bit means we want a text box, and this name element tells Manager what to do with what is entered on the form. The format is namespace, qualifier, identifier, for example, measurement, value, external SG. The first bit of this is called the namespace. It can be a measurement which has been defined in the Hilltop tables. It could be a field that is just associated with the form, like the weather, or a water quality sample parameter, like dissolved oxygen concentration. This bit is the qualifier, and it tells Hilltop what to do with the data. It can be a value that will be stored with the measurement. It could also be a form, a water quality measurement, or a water quality sample parameter. In this case, the text will be stored in the data file and is shown when you view the form. It works in the same way as water quality parameters, and this is how you'd store the observer's name, for example. The third part identifies the measurement or parameter. When you add a measurement value, Hilltop will put the value in the data file and write it to the form. The measurement can be for series data, check data, or quality data. You can put the data source in square brackets if you want to. You can also provide a site name, and this will override the site name associated with the form. The site name is enclosed in braces. The measurement will usually be a discrete one, but can be check data or water quality data. A water quality measurement can have parameters associated with it, like the serial number of an instrument. The measurement comes after the parameter qualifier, and then the parameter name follows the measurement. In the case of water quality, the sample parameters travel with the measurements and become part of the grab sample. There is no data value associated with the water quality sample, it is just a set of parameters. The HTML form can accept a sample parameter through the sample namespace. Be aware that what you see on the screen isn't necessarily the same as what you're telling Hilltop behind the scenes. You see here the form is coded to expect a value for external s.g. because external s.g. is how the measurement is defined in Hilltop. On the form itself, however, it reads external staff gauge. It is not abbreviated on the form, so users are under no illusions of what to enter here. And why is this important? Well, the computer isn't going to be looking for things that are pretty close or making the assumptions, so it's important to get the back end of it correct. Let's say we want to add a field for wind direction. I want it to go in here next to the current wind combo box. Actually, I'm going to change this one to wind strength. That'll be clearer now that we'll have two observations of wind. So I need to find wind in the code and change it. We could use a text field for wind direction, but then we might get some observations in directions and some in degrees, so to ensure consistency, I'm going to use another combo box. I'm going to work smarter, not harder, and copy and paste the code for wind strength and change it to suit. Now I need to figure out what I need to copy. Wind starts here, so I'll copy from the start of this line. I can see that that opens a container, so I'll need to copy down to where the container finishes. I'll paste that directly underneath, change wind strength to wind direction, change calm to north, light to east, and so on. Now that we've done that, let's check if it's worked. We save our form and then open it up in a browser. You can see that wind is now wind strength, and here's our new combo box. That's looking good, but it has squished up these radio buttons a bit. I'm not really sure what to do about that, but if we head back to the code we might be able to pick up some clues. I've noticed that the radio buttons are in the same table as this whole section, so I'm just going to try and fire them into their own table and just see if that makes a difference. You don't really have to know what you're doing. Have a go, work logically, and you might surprise yourself. Here you can press Ctrl S to save, go to the browser and press F5 to refresh the page. That looks much better. Now that you're getting good at this, let's have a closer look at the radio buttons because they can be a bit confusing to write. This is the code for the radio buttons on the form. The type is radio, and each element has the same name. This is how they come to be grouped together. I think the list is a bit limited to always give an accurate description of the periphyton, so I want to add another radio button called Other with a text field where the observer can describe what they're seeing. So I'm going to copy down the last line, change brown to Other, and then I need to add the text input element. It needs to be the last one in the group. Once I've done that, I can save it, refresh the browser and have a look. And great, that's worked. Now that we've got our form the way we want it, we need to do an initial setup in Manager. As a form is a data source, we need to go to the data source editor, click Add New, and name our form to match the HTML file, as this is what Hilltop will be expecting to find in the forms directory. We need to tell Manager it's a form. This section isn't important for forms, so we'll leave it as is. Click OK, save, and close, and we're done.